Now the thing we have to know that as the Kundalini ascends, we also start getting powers. The first power is that of innocence. Innocence has a power above all other powers. It's the most powerful thing. But in the human beings, it takes time for innocence to be awakened in the full way. It takes time. As a child, they have the innocence. And in childhood, if they get their awakening, that's the best thing that can happen to human beings, that in childhood only they get the realization. But as soon as you start growing, your attention starts going either to the left or to the right. You start indulging into all kinds of things as far as your sex is concerned, as far as your seeking is concerned, and you then jump on to some sort of a wrong thing which you should not have done. And that's how the first center gets lost. An innocent person is looked after by angels. Such a person has no fear of anything. He is not bothered. He is never violent. He is never hasty. He is never in a temper. He is so peaceful, and he knows that what he is doing is the right thing. Such a person stands by righteousness. Like you can see in the life of Christ, is a very good example. That very Mary Magdalene was stoned by people. He stood up and he said, "Among you who has done no sin can throw the stone at her." Actually, Christ had nothing to do with a prostitute. He had no relationship of any kind with her. She is a prostitute and he is the Son of God. But at that time he did feel that she has a right to exist, because those who are stoning her are the people who have committed also sins. Only she is a person who is exposed, and he stood by her. And that is what happens to a person who is innocent. He is fearless. He has no fear of anything, because he knows that he stands on truth and on innocence. Such a person also has a capacity to bear up lots of nonsense, to laugh at lots of tortures and troubles people bestow upon him. And the greatest thing of innocence is that it gives you discretion. Such a person is immensely discreet. He is so wise. He may be a little child, he may be a grown-up person, he may be a villager, he might be educated, he might be uneducated, but he is so wise that he sees what is right and what is righteous. And this is the greatest quality of an innocent person, that he is very discreet about everything. His discretion is just like a straightforward hit. He doesn't have to think, he doesn't have to bother. Whatever he decides is absolute discreet, and he doesn't have to have choices. He doesn't go on choosing people. He doesn't go on choosing things. He said, this is the thing, finished. So such a person becomes absolutely dynamic, because he doesn't waste any energy. He doesn't waste his brains. He doesn't waste his arguments with anyone. If he thinks the person is worth arguing, he'll argue, otherwise he'll say, all right, you are clever, go ahead. This is the understanding of a person who is completely discreet. Like there was a very big joke about it, that there was a man who was going up the road, up the stairs, and another one was coming downstairs. The one who was going up the road was a wise man, and the one who was coming down was not a wise man. So he tried to be aggressive, and he told him that I will not move for you, because I don't move for fools. So the other one moved on one side and he said, I do. Meaning I move out for fools. See, but he said, I do, and he moved out. So he has such a discretion how far to go and how far not to go. Now I will give an example how in nature you can find this very easily. See, the root has a little root cap. It's a very, very small, minute thing. You have to see through the microscope. Now this root cap is a wise thing. It goes in the soil. It sees there are some stones, so it goes round the stones. Then it finds there are boulders, it goes round the boulders. It has to find its way, so it's not bothered. You are a boulder? All right, doesn't matter. I'm not going to fight with you. It passes through that, it goes directly to that place where it has to arrive, And when he reaches that place, when he arrives that place, what happens? He finds that he has tied up these boulders around himself to support the whole tree. This is the wisdom of a little bit, small little cell, which is the root end. So you can imagine how much there is wisdom in a little cell like that. And God has given us such a good brain, and if we do not have discretion, we are like people who are blind, who walk without knowing where they have to. So the first power of your innocence is awakened. Innocent man cannot be harmed. Those who try to harm the innocent man are harmed ultimately. They are very severely harmed, and it is amazing sometimes that the harm can be too much, too severe, and that's why the compassion of Christ thought of it, and he said, "Oh God, please forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Because it could have been that with the Father who is so wrathful, they would have been all destroyed completely. So the way he said, "Forgive them," because I do not want that these people who are ignorant people, who have tortured me like this, should be destroyed. This is the sign of innocence.